Bhavavantu Hitakama Prakakupang Mejitang Parichana Gocharan Anavachanamme Patitito Asmiyeva Devata Anukampaka Mamante Maharakati Tivasakaratancha Etaya.
Testing. Okay, looks like that's working good. My apologies for the last couple of lives that were readings and the sound. Let me scoop this up to make sure. The sound was muted by YouTube or something. Okay, and I'm not going to waste too much time on that. I'll deal with that. I'm gauging and playing with technology and the different platforms to see what that's really all about. I really think it's because I'm hitting a nerve, and I think that I'm really sharing some helpful stuff. Okay, and I also believe that these energies, some of them on a collective scale, if this is pertaining to you too, that they are upset about the way some things are playing out. So the title, I believe I put the today's date and the time, okay, as the lead because I wanted to share. And if you look in the description box, I think I said something like, and they're still up to the same old shit. Remember, I tell you all that the only thing that some of these people ever really do, even when the cat's out the bag and, you know, people are getting in trouble or people are starting to back out or back away, even when all of that is happening, okay, they still cannot let go altogether. They still have to do something. So let me give you an example. Earlier yesterday, rather, when I was trying to do these lives that seemingly just seems to not have any sound. Okay. And I just want to say that I did all the checks and balances to see if it was like the device, if I had accidentally clicked something, and it wasn't. Okay. And, with this one, I'll find out as well. Okay. I'm on a different device, but I will find out as well if YouTube so happen to mute this sound of this one or what happens. Okay. We'll find out. So if you all can hear me, when I attempted to make these videos yesterday, and you all hear me talk about how, my son's one of the neighbors above him and whoever frequents like his building, the people in his building have been, or there are people, however you want to look at it, because again, I understand that people outsource shit. Okay. So, have been doing a whole lot of shit. They were caught on camera, okay, sprinkling something. They've been putting stuff on his patio and the front door. And I mean, this has been going on some time. And then the noise making, okay, past the quiet hours. Okay. So, and we know that they're doing spell work. Okay. We know it. I don't care. Um, if it's something that they don't disclose to people, but it's a fact. I was given the tip, even if I wasn't given the tip, I know it. Okay. And so because they've been caught doing too many weird things, okay, shitty diapers and shit, like what is that? So the next thing they did, remember I've mentioned how this person had one of the people that sprinkled some stuff and I caught them on camera. Another thing that they'll do to try to disguise that they're up to shit, the same old shit, much like maintenance, much like any other business do to hide the fact that they are there to either do some weird shit, whether that is sprinkle something, drop something down under the guise of coming under business, official office work, okay, or I'm just somebody handing out my flyers for my business. I'm somebody that's out here, handing out some flyers. They did it right as the time when I was in between trying to create the earlier two live videos that the sound was just so happened to not be there. This is how you can, this is how you pattern it. This is also how they try to fuck with you. I don't care. But I caught that. Okay. I did something with it. Let's just say that. Okay. I also did something else outside after all of that, much later. Okay. Because again, these are the energies that they are distorted practitioners, okay? And or they hire distorted practitioners to do shit. They're up to the same shit. No matter what has happened, no matter what has came out, they're up to the same shit. They're quiet now because they know I know. I was smiling as I was getting ready for this. I actually smiled because I know that they know that I know. Because now, you know, they, it, for artistic purposes, they're trying to appear as if they are quieting down. But quieting down, for me anyway, I can't speak for the rest of the collective and y'all situation out there. That don't mean shit to me. Quieting down sometimes is shenanigans in that quiet, spell work, especially in situations like this. Okay. The noise is just an added thing to be disruptive, and and it's a different form of a spell that they do, but just to fuck with you, to be disruptive. That's the whole thing about the unnecessary noise. But I also want to say that I was trying to say it earlier on some other videos, but these are energies that wait and look for collectives of folks to be vulnerable. This is what makes them sick. This is why this is a much greater problem than people want to admit. Because they sit up like, who listen to me, who does that? I'ma keep saying it until enough folks that ain't altogether screwed in the head themselves, until enough people start to, what I'm saying? It's like, this ain't the kind of shit that you just go, okay, well, just see, we don't just ignore, no, they got a problem, and they got it, there's something wrong. This is an obsession, an addiction, and a sickness. Okay. These are folks who possibly, okay, just hear me out, because I understand that it's several folks. It's not just no one single person. These are folks who possibly feel in life, how did they become those people? How did they get on that path? They possibly felt powerless, and we all struggle with something like that, but some go on one end and some go on another end, or and somewhere in between. And it looks like, this is the only thing that's given them any kind of false sense of control. And I say that, and it should be clear to them by now, considering a lot that has happened. But, yeah, who does that? Who's got that kind of time? We need to ask, we need to say it out loud. Folks need to say it out loud, write it on paper, put their fondness aside, because more often than not, that's blinding a lot of people. Familiarity and fondness. So we make excuses. We can't see clearly. We don't want to see, like, okay, this is getting creepy. Who is sitting up? That's why I make the jokes. Y'all think I'm just being sassy, but it's like, no. I make the jokes and I reference certain movies and characters because I'm like, who does that? Who's got that time on their hands to be sitting up, waiting for somebody and their kids to be vulnerable so that they can be weird, sit on the floor and be weird and do weird shit? So they can bump and make noise. So I'm gonna make some noise now, and I'm gonna disrupt and make them wake up. Or even if I don't make them wake up, then I still get to go to town while they're vulnerable. That's a sickness. And this is the kind of folks motherfuckers hired to do shit. I'll find out in a minute about this video, because I have to, with the lives, I have to find out. Now, if I find out that this one is muted, then I'll be doing another strategy. Oh, I don't quit. They throw obstacle, I'll figure out another way. They're quiet now because they knew that I picked it up. They knew that I caught, because I started doing a clearing, like a subtle clearing, and then I caught. I said, okay, well, I'm going to continue to do stuff like this, calmly and intelligently, for people who are still in the phase of believing that these people change, because they don't. Oh, they was doing stuff throughout the night, even before that timestamp. Like I said, when I was trying to do the video, some of the rando, blah blah blah. Then when I was cleaning and clean up the tub and getting ready to try to get a bath in, yeah, they were doing shit then. Subtly, but it was. And I smiled because I'm like, I smiled to myself again because I'm like, babe, no, they don't. This is pertaining collective, and those who are watching the collective trying to understand and figure things out. That's is really who I'm talking to. These people don't stop. And for as it pertains to the collectives, relatives, and family, that's it. Oh, y'all know better, man. That's been a part of a lot of these family structures. A lot of the problem has been the refusal, the downright refusal to see shit for what it is. The excuse making after they get, caught busted red-handed time after time after time, and letting them loose in the Americas and shit. I'm like, how do you have this? And people, I'm like, they just let them loose in the Americas. Well, we just don't want, we ain't gonna have nothing else to do with them. That ain't enough. That's not enough. Now you let loose a rabid dog. That's pissed because you don't want nothing else to do with them no more either. So now their abandonment wounds are fully activated and flared, which is why they keep going and looking for cult to train up motherfuckers to be cult, become a part of a cult. because now they're looking for vengeance on not only who their original target was, okay, which was always the game plan, but now they're looking for vengeance in every way, shape, form, or fashion they can. That's why I tell people all the time, or I say in teachings, like, you cannot appease these kind and going running away. Once you've gotten the information that you need, that ain't gonna be the answer either. That's why we're the collective is standing the way we're standing now, because we realize that's not the answer. Because what you're doing is letting loose a rabid dog. When you have information that is pertinent information that could put these rabid dogs down, that is the responsibility. That's our responsibility at that point. And I'm only saying somebody's like, damn, why she had to, why she say rabid dog? Well, the stuff that they're doing to people, I'm not saying it to be cutesy. The kind of what they've been into. At this point, they don't care. They don't have any regards for nothing. They never really did. They only pretended for so long. But now they're just gonna seek out more people that's in their like vibe. Then their whole new mission is gonna people who don't have nothing to lose, people who, you know what I'm saying? At least they feel like they don't have nothing to lose. Um, who's looking thirsty for blood. And there's always plenty of them people around. That ain't hard to find in life. Especially a bunch of people who ain't no longer gonna get the money. That's something that's, listen, we're responsible. I'm gonna put that out there until enough folks start accepting responsibility. I'm even talking about people's previous cults that they were in. They're responsible too. Oh yeah, putting that judgment on that. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. It's like, oh, we're just gonna cut them off. That ain't enough. You better handle it. Because it's still gonna trace to you. But a part of a part of the problem, I think that these some of these people are like, because they feel like they have nothing to lose. I think they are covertly kind of threatening some of all these folks, if that makes sense, in their own way. Like, you know what I'm saying? People who either they was once a part of some shit or something like that. Like, if I go down, all I think I heard a reader or somebody say that today, I think on either TikTok or one of the platforms. And they said, if I go down, everybody go down. And I believe that's what some of these people that's above my son and possibly in the vicinity of whoever you all are out there that you see the video, or whoever you all are thinking of, if you're watching because you're trying to learn and understand about what's going on with the collective. These people be pissed. They're, especially for the ones that are not used to getting, they're not used to not getting their way, especially when that's a factor. Somebody gonna say, well, that's life. You don't always get your way. Okay, y'all stop trying to make sense of it. Stop trying to make sense of something that never made sense to begin with. We didn't want to believe, the masses, hell, the collective didn't want to believe it. Now you see where I'm going with that? The collective, the target themselves, the collective did not want to believe, whether it was to do with family or not, but just to come to the realization that people really was that sick as it pertained to them. Okay, we all see shit on TV and movies and stuff, but just to come to the acceptance and the realization that people was really, you know, they knew like people may not like them or was upset, but that's such as life. They have people that they don't like and upset with. Chances are some of the very people that's doing the shit. But they never, that's not something that ever crossed their mind to become to get into. So for it to become blatantly clear and obvious that this is more than I don't like the person, so I'm gonna roll my eyes or I'm going, the standard shit. I ain't gonna tell them, okay, whatever. That's standard. You ain't fuck with some motherfuckers. But to come to realize, like, okay, so this has morphed into, so you gonna sit up over my son's apartment like a weird motherfucker and be sitting on the floor, you know, doing conjuring, and so that's what we all now. So you're gonna be putting shit, dust, and shit, it was hard for us to accept. We didn't want to believe that. That's why it took a minute. We knew that people didn't like us because we ain't stupid. We can feel vibes. It's like, yeah, yeah, okay. You can tell body language, vibes, and, icy glares and smirks, and we can pick up all that shit. We didn't think that it went that far, though. We didn't think, because again, we that's just not something we're like, okay, blah, 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 blah. So we were forced to have to come to accept that there are people who, and this is what it is, they're not used to not getting their way, which could imply that maybe they may have some other underlining things, diagnosed or not. And when they feel like it's the fault of the collective, even though it may very well not be, they just look at the collective as the source of where shit started, instead of looking at, like, okay, but what about your actions and behaviors leading up to it? What about that? Is that a factor? But they can't. That's the thing about certain personality styles or types. That's not something they can do. It's not something they want to do. They feel like that's an insult. Do you hear me? I need the world to hear that. They feel like that's, for some reason, it's insulting to them to imply that they ain't correct, to imply that they're wrong for their judgments and they're wrong for their actions. It seems like an assault on to them, they perceive that as an all-out assault on their, what they feel like is their importance, their identity, and their authority. So again, this is when we talk about distorted authority and leadership. I have a deck that talks about those archetypes of leaders and what end of this, kind of what they lean into. It's like you challenge their authority. That's that tyrant energy. You question their authority, you question their leadership, you question their conduct, you question their behavior. Or call it out. Anywho, I'm not gonna stay long because I want to test and see what happens with this video. I want to see if there's any difference and see what other options and things I need to play with until we get the whole little shit resolved. This is something the world needs to look at. And those who have been in these circles and dealt with these folks, you're responsible, whether you want to be or not. I know that there's people out there that's scared, all kind of shit. But you know what? It's see, this is where you want to get to. This is more than about a social media video, a social media post. Because that shit is easy to do. This is the stuff that's the making of it. Like, okay, so this is real time. How you gonna deal? Because you did you a lot of cool sayings on social media. You're a guru, you're a teacher, you're a healer, you're a preacher, you're all these things. So now how you gonna deal with this? Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing. That's why the collective take on the stance that we take on. It's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And even as I speak, like they're quiet, but they're doing shit. Whether that is projecting just their obsessive, or actually trying to do spells. I think some are losing their gifts. It's like maybe there was a judgment call on some of them, and maybe some of their ancestors, like some of them are losing it. And so now what you all could be feeling is like they're obsessed because that's like a spell in itself. Their obsessive thoughts, their obsessive words, their obsessive noise making, those are energies, and it's still spelled, if you will, but it's just not the sophisticated stuff based on the giftings that they had and exploited. And if they haven't lost them yet, they're well on their way. Because first and foremost, they tried to take the collectives. They tried to taint and distort the collectives. Then they tried to clown the collectives. And so, yeah. Up to the same shit. I didn't even get a full reading. The two that I tried to do earlier was good, a lot of positive energy, especially the one that was kind of focusing on what could help the collective. I didn't pull a lot. I didn't do an update. Maybe I will tomorrow to see like what happened, what has changed, what is the hell is happening. But they still trying to like put weird shit on shit. Botanists, I don't know what the fuck what they on, bitch. I handled it. But the thing about that collective, just like I'm sure you're thinking, if you're going through this shouldn't be something you have to handle. This is why we're gonna keep saying what we need to say. Because this shouldn't be the normal. People mad, they lose this money, honey. Or they're not going to get as much, whatever has happened. Either they're not going to get as much or something. So we all got to get our head out the cloud or from, whatever you want to call it. Yes, there are people out here, seemingly regular Joe Schmoes, that's on that shit. That's looking at people like it's the human grocery store. Meaning, commodity. Stuff you can sell, racketeering. Hello. Hey, ain't no else. I know people like, what? I don't know how else y'all gonna put it. It's racketeering, baby. Paying people to do fucked up shit to people for money. It's just, let's make it Ebonics version. It's racketeering. Whether that's for the promise of insurance, inheritance, whatever the case, it's still racketeering. And the fact that fusion centers hire people to do it, that's racketeering. It is. Because they're paying these people to cause psychological and emotional unrest. I don't care how people want to flip this pancake. That is what it is.